Hey guys, Michael here from youtube.com/therevivedone. In this video, I'm going to attempt to break down Sony's large E3 press conference into a 10-minute or less video clip. So let's get started. First of all, a few days ago, I posted a video about the PSP Go being leaked or pre-released. And actually, at the conference, Sony publicly said that the PSP Go was the worst kept secret of E3. So of course that means that the PSP Go is indeed official. Specifics are still a little bit less than I would like, but North America and Europe are getting the console on October 1st, and it'll be launching for $249. Personally, I think that's a little bit too much, because for $1 more you could get a Nintendo Wii, which I think is a better console and a better value compared to the Go. Speaking of value, the PSP 3000 will remain on the market at its current price. Something interesting is coming to the PSP Go. It's going to have a whole new software engine for transferring media between the computer and you. But one of the cool things that they announced is something called SenseMe, which uses two-tone audio recognition to play playlists of music based on your mood. This is coming in the fall, and it's just a really cool thing to have something that can, sense how you're feeling and play music accordingly. I think that's really cool, if it works. Of course, that's the biggest test. TV shows are also coming to the PSP via the PSP Store. There's actually a lot of networks that they have, including Showtime, G4, and HDNet, which is pretty cool. I'm not exactly sure about the resolution of the screen. I doubt it's HD resolution, but content from HDNet I'm sure will still look stunning on the PSP Go. There are also some game announcements for the PSP. I'm pretty sure they'll be released with a digital download for the PSP Go and a physical UMD copy for the PSP 3000, but the PSP Go does not have a UMD drive. And for more information, go to that leak video, PSP Go leaked, on my channel. So the games, we're getting Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, and we're also getting a Resident Evil game. Those are coming soon. We don't actually know the release dates to those. But both games looked good. We didn't really see a lot about Resident Evil, but for Metal Gear Solid, frame rates looked pretty good. The game, it wasn't as smooth as I would have liked for a PSP game, but it's a rough build, and I'm sure they'll work everything out in the end. But the Gran Turismo game is also coming to the PSP, and the frame rate is going to be locked at 60 frames per second, so content's really going to look good. And you're also going to be able to trade cars with other Gran Turismo PSP owners through an ad hoc Wi-Fi network, because all PSPs have Wi-Fi in there, so they can create an ad hoc network and connect. There's actually going to be over 800 different cars. So that's pretty much all I'm going to talk about for Sony's mobile platform. Let's move over to the PS3. The first game I want to talk about is Assassin's Creed 2. And Zio's mission is to assassinate Carlo Germald. Not exactly sure if I butchered those names. But that's basically, he's just a really powerful guy in Venice, and he's in the past, and the mission is to basically assassinate him. And one of the really annoying things about the original Assassin's Creed was you had to get 3 sets of intel before you could assassinate the person. And really, the intel didn't help you kill them. It was just, a waste. So the guys that make Assassin's Creed and girls threw that out. They realized that engine really wasn't good, so you can just go ahead and kill. That sounded so bad. But Leonardo da Vinci actually appears in this game, and he's actually friends with your main character, Enzio, and he actually has something for him. I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but he does have something pretty cool that allows him to fly around the city. Final Fantasy 14, not 13, 14 was announced. That's going to be a PS3 exclusive, and it'll launch next year after the multi-console release of Final Fantasy 13. Speaking of Final Fantasy 7 is going to be on the PlayStation Store today, and there'll also be many other original PlayStation games to the PlayStation Store for you to play on your new console, which is really a cool thing. Some more games. A lot of the stuff was about games today. Agent, which is developed by Rockstar North, will be an exclusive to the PS3. And we don't really know a lot about it, but we do know that it's going to be in the 1970s, set in the 1970s, and focused on espionage gameplay. This is something really cool. Rockstar does a great job with their games. If you don't remember, they make the Grand Theft Auto series, and that's one of my favorite series of all time. So espionage gameplay is something that's kind of interesting to me. And 1970s, who knows what we're going to see there. It's just looking really good. We don't really have a lot of details on Agent, but they made a big deal about it, so I'm making a big deal about it now. Especially because, again, the developer Rockstar North does a great job with their games, so I think Agent is going to follow that pattern. Some more big games that we knew about, but we got some more information. MAG, which is an MMO FPS. A massively multiplayer online first-person shooter. It's actually 256 players online, And as for the graphics, it's levels between the PS2, better than the PS2, not as good as other PS3 games we've seen. So it's in between there, but that's pretty good for online play. The trailer that we saw, I'm not exactly sure how everything was set up, but it was lagless and everything worked very well. Who knows how that'll work in practice with varying people's high speed internet. But mag looks pretty cool, and that's something I really wanted to see. I really always wanted a large scale game for first person shooters, and this looks really cool. You command different battalions and groups, and you're fighting to complete objectives, or the other team online is fighting to stop you. It's really cool, and mag, if you have a PS3, this is going to be one of the games you have to pick up. Of course, they could always flop, but it looks really cool, and gameplay is awesome. Uncharted 2 we knew about as well. The game looks great. There's a beta starting June 3rd that you can sign up for, a free beta, but there's no release date, so there's not really a lot to say about Uncharted 2, except that I expect it again to be another great game, and I think this is going to be a great year for PS3 owners. A lot of exclusives, a lot of other games that aren't exclusive but are still awesome. But I mean, they have a lot of great exclusives. Agent, Mag, Uncharted, God of War 3, and that's just a nice segue. God of War 3 was another thing they showed off, and they showed a lot of gameplay footage here. Around a little bit less than 10 minutes worth of high-quality gameplay footage. Graphics were vastly improved over God of War 2. Everything looked really good. I've never personally played a God of War game, but God of War the original and God of War 2 won many awards, a plethora of awards for the God of War team. So I assume God of War 3 is going to be great as well. Of course, if you don't know the general gist of it, the main character is actually Zeus's son, I believe, who was exiled from Olympus. So he's fighting his way back, and the goal is to kill his father, which is kind of an interesting thing. It's an interesting take on myths and gods and all that. And the gameplay is really good. Graphics are awesome too. We don't have a solid release date, but March 2010 is where you're going to expect this game. But the biggest thing they announced, or the thing that made the most news, is motion controller. That means all three consoles are going to have motion detection. And this is actually interesting the way they did it. You have two wands and they can be separated, and there's also a button on them that can be used if you're using a first-person shooter, but generally you're just going to have two wands in one hand, but again, they can be separated. But what's really cool, and it's, by the way, it looks similar, the controller is physically similar to the Wiimote, but how it works is a little bit different. Basically, there's a purple ball on the stick that you're holding, the wand, and the PlayStation Eye actually tracks that purple ball. And what's really cool is, this is the part where it gets a little bit, I'm not really understanding what they're talking about, but other items can be used. And this is just a quote I found somewhere. Motion controllers can be replaced with other items, such as guns, displaying the player on the screen holding all sorts of items. So you can scan different things in instead of using the wands, but then I'm not sure what the point of the wands are, so it's a little bit dicey, but that just comes along with the territory. But motion is one-to-one, similar to Wii Motion Plus, but apparently this is Wii Motion Plus on steroids, I heard somebody say who tried it. So it's extremely accurate and smooth, it's very tight, and it moves at 60 frames per second, which is really cool. As for the launch, this is supposed to launch sometime spring 2010, and I think that's where we get into our major problem with what they're calling the PlayStation Motion Controller, is that it may be too late. Wii Motion Plus will have been on the market for a while now, and we've already seen Project Natal from Microsoft, so it may be too late for them to, release this product into the market. And another thing, how can it compete with Project Natal, which is controllerless? If you have to get these wands to use it, even if it's a little bit better than Microsoft's Natal, you don't need anything for Natal. It's just pick up and go. And if it comes later also, it's going to be harder to adopt. I mean, the Mac platform is debatably better when it first came out than the original Windows, but Windows came out a few months earlier, and we all know the market share. Just a little comparison there. So PlayStation Motion Controller is looking pretty cool, but it may be too late. But again, we never know. We'll see in spring 2010. There's my official recap of the Sony E3 2009 press conference. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't at youtube.com/therevived1. See ya.